So, Carl, shall we move on to
Let's
this
do
week
it,
in
man.
wrestling?
Let's kick off
Let's do it.
with Monday Night Raw. So, the match card this week. Obviously, so let's preface this by we knew, as we discussed, the breaking news of last week's show was that Drew McIntyre had unfortunately tested positive for COVID. So we knew that this was going to be a Drew McIntyre-less episode of Raw. What did they decide to do? They decided to bring Triple H back to open the show. So Triple H opens the show. In terms of the first match of the night, we got something which I've been clamouring for fucking ages. I even wanted it out of WrestleMania, and it was just tossed away in a shitty match. And we got Charlotte Flair versus Lacey Evans. Let's have it now. With Lacey Evans picking up the win because of shenanigans. We had Jeff Hardy taking on Jackson Riker for some fucking unknown reason. And Jackson Riker picks up the win for some unknown fucking reason. But then Jeff Hardy gets on the mic and challenges Elias. And Jeff Hardy wins that one because Riker doesn't help.
What message are they trying to
I don't know.
give here?
And on a night, Anthony, of people pulling double duty, we had two Jeff Hardy matches.
Doubles.
We then also get two Sheamus matches because we have Sheamus
Of course.
teaming up with Keith Lee to take on Miz and Morrison, with the team of Sheamus and Keith Lee picking up the win. And they look to be in good spirits and best friends. We then come back from commercial break and they're beating each other up and they're having a one-on-one match and they don't really tell us anything about that, but that happens. And Keith Lee wins. So, okay.
Sure.
Yeah. We then have I forgot his name. The champion. We then have Drew McIntyre live via satellite responding to Goldberg's challenge from the previous week. He basically goes, yeah. So, yeah, okay, we get that. Can't wait.
Yeah. I'm on the edge of my seat waiting for the match I've always wanted of Drew McIntyre versus
You've been speaking
Goldberg.
about it. I'm sure you put that in your fantasy booking, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I did several times. I think the entire card in my fantasy booking was just that match
that
over
was
and over.
the worst possible card ever segment that we did that one time. That was it.
Yes, that was it. Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah. Speaking of teabags, we had T-Bar taking on Xavier Woods with T-Bar picking up the win for some reason. We had another person pulling double duty. We had Riddle taking on Bobby Lashley in the US title match, which Lashley won. And then Riddle got on the microphone and challenged MVP, which ended in a disqualification. So, yeah, 3 separate instances of double matches.
For fuck's sake.
So, that makes a lot of sense.
Have these guys got 3 hours to kill and nothing to put in it?
That could make a bit of sense, actually. And then another toss-away match, which could have been good if they gave it any time. Again, if only they had 3 hours and, didn't have to fill it with a load of shit. We had AJ Styles taking on Drew Gurlac with AJ picking up the win in pretty quick fashion. We had Nia Rose. No, we had Nia Jax. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler teaming up. Obviously, even though they're not the tag champs anymore, they're still a tag team for some reason, even though they hate each other. Teamed up, taking on Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. And I didn't even put who won this match. I'm pretty sure it was Shayna Baszler had picked up the win for the team. So, yeah. And the main event, Anthony, what do we want to see in 2021? Something we haven't seen in about a year or two, but we have seen it about 3 million times. Triple H versus Randy Orton.
Oh, here's the thing, though. That's fine. I want something familiar and comforting in these times. Something I'm used to. Something I grew up with. So, works for me.
Fucking a cup of tea or something if you want that. You don't have Triple H and Randy Orton. So, yeah, that ended in a no contest because of more shenanigans. So, that was the card. Highlights. Don't want to sound all Natalie and Bruglia, but I'm torn because it's like that. That's good. I like that.
I like it. It's good.
So Lacey and Charlotte is everything I wanted. I really want to see them two one-on-one at a WrestleMania. I think that they could have fantastic chemistry together. I'm just so disappointed that they gave it away on an episode of Raw without any real build-up. It was centered around Ric Flair and Charlotte more than it was anything else. Like, let's be honest. Charlotte's come back after an absence, and it's all about Charlotte once again. Asuka wasn't even on the fucking show, for example. But that aside, it's the Charlotte show, and it's about her and Rick. So we have Lacey being put into some weird angle where she's got a thing for Ric Flair now. And, Charlotte doesn't want Ric Flair there costing her matches, so Ric Flair comes down and helps Lacey. So he grabs Charlotte's leg, and, basically Lacey picks up the win. So
I would, I'd be less. I'm not bothered about Charlotte being in a prominent position. In all honesty, she's talented. She's had the opportunity and the position, and she's made the most of it. I am bothered that they're giving us the same storyline that they did 3-4 years ago, maybe. Didn't we have this? Didn't we have this exact thing with was it Rick and Becky?
I have no idea. I can't even remember that far back. But yeah, if I'm pretty sure this is a rehash that we've seen several times. Only I'm not happy.
Like I know Rick's got a lot of money, right? And I know he's a legend in the business, but I can only suspend so much disbelief that all these women fancy that.
Well, he is the dirtiest player in the game, Anthony. You can take that however you want. You
Apparently
know what I'm saying?
so.
But yeah, I don't know. I just
takes forever to get anywhere though with his walk.
You know what? I wish I could get away with just walking like that. Just anywhere I go, up to the shops. It takes me 3 hours, but I am I'm capable of doing that. But yeah, I don't know, Anthony. I'm so disappointed.
But I don't know. I feel like that, like you say, because you've wanted this match for a while,
and
you've
it
been
was
asking
all right.
for this match
like
since
it
WrestleMania.
is a highlight because they put on a decent match. Could it have been a million times better with a build-up and a story that wasn't about this, and just more time? Absolutely, but
no shenanigans. Have a clean finish for someone. I don't even care which one.
It would have been perfectly fine for Charlotte to go over Lacey. Like, I'm not even saying Lacey has to win, but just this whole thing.
Hang on a minute, aren't we doing the highlights?
Well, I mean, it's Raw, Anthony. So pretty much any highlight is secretly a no shite in disguise. But yeah, so the match itself I thought was decent, and it's something that I want to see on a bigger stage with a better build and a better story. So the match itself was good, and that's why it's my only highlight, Anthony. My only highlight. I did say I was torn. Nothing's right. Oh. I'm torn. I'm all out of faith. Anyway.
That's just how you feel.
I'm cold and I am shamed. I'm lying naked. Oh, sorry. Webcam off. But yeah, so that was the highlight. The Oshites. And I'm going to breeze through these. I'm going to breeze and go the shit out of these, right? Orton, Triple H, right? Look, I love Triple H. He's a legend. He's one of my favourite wrestlers from way back when. He's a great talker. I've missed him on the mic. I don't want to see him in a fucking authority angle. Don't get me wrong. Listen to WWE. Don't fucking do it. I'm sorry I put the idea in your head. Don't, right? But on the mic, he was good, and he hasn't lost a step here. He was good on the mic, and we know that, right? The problem is, Triple H and Orton. Fuck me. What else can you do with these two? They've had everything. They've had the evolution thing. They've had different versions of that. They've had Legend Killer stuff. They've done it all. I've seen them.
About the evolution thing again.
I've seen them wrestle about 3 million times, right? So why, just why?
I understand this is probably reactionary. Like apparently the original plan was to have McIntyre in the main event. So I understand this is a bit reactionary, but like you say,
just
why?
I mean,
there are so many other people.
I think the originally intended main event wasn't it Orton versus McIntyre for some reason, even though we've seen that. Even if that was the case, why? Because Orton's in a feud with The Fiend.
I'll book you one straight away. It doesn't involve The Fiend, but I'll book you one straight away. Orton's a legend killer, goes around disrespecting legends, right? The Fiend's missing a tormenting him, so you still could have had the screwy, tormenty bit, which you'll talk about. We have an active roster member who's a legend. We have MVP.
Oh, that's true.
Why couldn't they have crossed paths, got upset with each other, and they had the main event? It didn't have to be Triple H.
I don't know. The whole thing was tied. He made that comment, which I think every fucking face has made. And, Orton's even playing the heel here, but even he said it about something about fucking, Stephanie's got his balls in a purse. It's like, how many times have we heard that? Like, fucking hell.
I know. It's like, it might as well be action figures at this point. The way they've got pre-recorded fucking lines.
Like, just fucking stroked them with it. Choked them with it. But yeah, so fuck me. It just baffles me that we're in 2021 and the main event of a Raw is Triple H and Orton. Like, fucking hell. Where is the fucking DeLorean? Where did it come from? How do I get back?
Mate, the main event of Raw is Triple H and Orton. We've got Goldberg heading towards Mania. This isn't
My
fucking
God,
modern
mate.
day.
Fucking, yeah.
My God.
Mental.
So I'm fairly with
So
that
then,
one.
I've said this already as I ran through the card, but 3 separate instances of like follow-up matches on the one show. So, firstly, Jeff Hardy and Jackson Riker. Why? Like, that's an absolute shit show. The whole thing with Elias is pointless. You fucking murdered Elias now by sticking him with Riker, because what the fuck's going on with that?
And Riker's his bodyguard. You know,
That
the
makes
guy who's
no
smaller
sense.
than him.
And like the way this was booked,
That is almost as bad as making AJ
well,
almost
exactly.
his bodyguard.
It's like it's not even. They're not even
That's
playing
how
it like
pointless it is.
comedic either. It's just like we're just meant to buy it, which makes no sense. But this whole thing, the way it played out was okay. Elias is going to get involved and help Riker win, and then Elias was like, "Oh, don't get involved in my match." Wink, wink. To Riker, and then Riker just doesn't get involved, and so Jeff wins, and Riker's like, "Well, you asked me not to," and he's like, "I'm like, wow, okay."
So between the two, how do you want this?
I mean, yeah, who knows? Either way, it's going to be shit, whatever they do with it, isn't it? Let's be honest. So, yeah. Then, the second of this fucking trifecta of fucking shitty follow-up matches is we have Sheamus and Keith Lee, right? So, firstly, what is this, right? I know Drew isn't there, and whatever, they've fallen out, they don't like each other, whatever. They now team up for some reason, they get the win. They're all happy, they're high-fiving, they're hugging, amazing. We go to a promo or something, or a commercial break, we come back. They're in the ring beating the shit out of each other. The commentary team don't even tell us if there's a reason why. They're just like, oh, these guys seem to be fighting now. Like, what, do they go for a piss during a commercial break as well? Like, do you know what I mean? Or during a promo segment, do they just fuck off and come back? And are they seeing this the first time as us? Like, isn't their job as a commentary team to say, oh, well, after the match, what happened was, no, it was just, oh, and now we're having a match.
No,
Okay.
they were on the socials at the time. They were on Instagram tagging
Probably.
things.
Michael Cole's just there,
Looked
just like,
up, there was a match happening.
pulling little pouty faces and stuff. Love it. But yeah, for all his coal miners out there, you know, you got to get those selfies. But yeah, like fuck me. And then there's a match that we just don't need to see again between these two, but they have it, and it was all right, yeah. But then it was the same thing again. They win, and then Sheamus, Keith Lee puts his hand out, and Sheamus goes to like shake his hand and goes, "Nah, I'm gonna hug you." Okay. Sound. And lastly, in the fucking three amigo of fuck ups, we have Riddle versus Lashley for the US title. He should have fucking lost last week, but he ended up winning. So this week, even though he's the good guy, he got what he fucking deserved. Lashley just fucking destroyed him basically and put him in the full Nelson, beat him up. Great. And then
Nice to see Riddle getting that push.
yeah, and then Riddle gets on the mic and he's like, "Well, yeah, just because Lashley beat me, you can't beat me, MVP, bro." And then, okay, now they have a match, and then the hair business get involved, and yeah, it's just shit. It's shit.
You just keep going. Well, just because MVP beat me doesn't mean you could beat me, Michael Cole.
I honestly just don't get, like, who's writing this shit? It doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't follow any kind of linear story or... Do you know what I mean? It's just a load of dross. It's filler. Constant filler, and I'm sick of the same shit.
To have a 3-hour filler show is ridiculous.
It is awful. It's so bad, right? Then, right, I'm pissed off again because we have AJ Styles versus Drew Gurlac. And yeah, Drew Gurlac is nothing, he has been booked into the fucking ground again. He re-signed, God knows why. It was obviously just for the money because they've done fuck all with him. He's part trainer now, isn't he, on SmackDown for fucking Otis and Daniel Bryan.
I don't know.
But then he's on Raw.
I don't even fucking
Who knows,
know.
right? I don't even know what show he's meant to be on. But we have AJ versus Gulak, and AJ just basically just batters him, yeah. Sound. And all this...
And it was a better match when we had it on SmackDown, just FYI.
Yeah, right? And all this was over, again, something which didn't make any sense around, well, AJ's going to enter the Royal Rumble. Well, so's Drew Gulak. And it's like, well, Adam Pearce says to Gulak, well, you can't really enter it. And he's like, well, why? AJ Styles just said he's announced it, so why can't I? He's like, you'll have to win it. And he puts him against AJ, and then AJ wins. So what does that mean?
Okay.
Drew can't enter the Rumble now. Why? Just fuck me.
And what's the point in this? Like, we all know that. Don't use this as a storyline. We know that both of them are going to be in the fucking Rumble because we've not got enough participants anyway.
It's like, fuck me. Like, all filler, no killer is
Dicks.
the way to describe this show. It was shite, right? And then the ending, right? We've already said we don't need to see Triple H and Orton again. So I'm just gonna bypass pretty much the whole match because it was a fucking. I think it was it a no disqualification? I don't even know what it was, but they were fighting outside the ring. Triple H was still in his fucking. He wasn't even like. He looked like he was like the fucking fat kid that didn't want to take his top off. He still had his clothes on and stuff. It was just weird, right? So he was just there, and then at one point he has a sledgehammer, and the lights go out, and then the sledgehammer's on fire because.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. And then Triple H disappears because like the Fiend or Alexa or whoever's doing this can make people disappear now. So Triple H, where's he? Triple H is dead. Is he dead?
I love the mix of supernatural and natural where she can make people disappear. We can set hammers on fire. You can fire fireballs, but the Firefly Funhouse is just a little makeshift fucking box backstage.
Exactly. It's just whatever suits.
Of course it is.
But yeah, so Triple H disappears into the fucking ether. So at least we'll never see him again. Yay. And then Alexa comes down, and as you've already said, shoots fucking Orton in the face with the fireball. And we spend 5 minutes of Randy Orton rolling around the ring going, ah, and then that's it, it ends. Okay.
What was the aim of this? Like, are we meant to feel sorry for Randy? Because he set someone on fire.
Well, exactly.
He tried to break Matt Hardy's neck. All kayfabe. But he did do that.
Could you remember that? Oh, God.
He attacked Beth Phoenix. He ended Edge's return. Yeah. He's pretty much a dick.
He is, yeah.
And, we're meant to be bothered about the fireball. What was the intent of the fireball?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't even know.
No idea. She just came out and shot him in the face with the fireball. So, cool.
But with powers like that, you don't need to wrestle.
Well, exactly. And it's like Alexa makes her in-ring return, like, this coming week. It's like...
She just stands there going...
That's it. Like, let's be honest, all you got to do now is just burn people alive. You don't get like reprimanded for it anyway, so cool. Just
not even
come to work with a fucking flamethrower.
Strowman's
job done.
Fucking
I'm the champion now. I know, yeah. Poor Strowman, really. you know it's bad when you fucking sympathising with Strowman. But also, just to end this little recap, right? A little side note: has Triple H shrunk in the fucking wash, right? I remember watching him go face to face with The Rock, and The Rock was like about an inch bigger than him, right? And The Rock's what, 6'4", 6'5". Triple H was he was a midget. Like, he was like a fucking dwarf next to Orton, right? And later on in the night, for some reason...
Wait, that was the actual Triple H?
It could have been...
I thought they got Swaggling again.
Well, like, he was tiny, and then I was like, okay, well, maybe Orton's taller than I thought. Later in the night, we get fucking Keith Lee comes over. And Triple H was smaller than him, and Keith Lee's barely 6 foot. What's happened to Triple H? Did he just wear massive fucking platform lifts in his shoes all these years, or what?
Why was he being so short with these guys?
Hey. I am the game. The fucking kids game. So, yeah, side note, but that was the show, Anthony. It was a shit show. It was...
a side note, actually, a fun fact for you, Carl. That was a regular-sized hammer.
It was like a child's fucking toy one from like a little toolkit thing. But yeah, my God, Anthony, it was an absolute shit show from start to finish, to be honest. I can't give it a 0 because it wasn't like there was a worse show like not too long ago that was a 0, but it's a 0.5. It was awful. Just so bad.
I feel like I do this way too much lately, and I know there should be some sort of debate between us. But there's not a single match here that I'm like, well, at least that was worth it. I'll give it a 1. There's nothing. I'm giving it a 0.5 because there was some content. Like, most of the shenanigans, and we hate shenanigans. Like, it was nice to see Triple H back, even though, like you say, he was small and never took his shirt off, but whatever. Can I go back on that? Because I don't want to be upset that Triple H never took his shirt off. I'm fine with it.
I was going to give it a 1, but Triple H stayed fully clothed, and man, it was ruined.
Yeah, so, so, sorry, Trip, you've loads to go. I may have stepped on my own point. 0.5 from me.
Okay.
So should we talk about NXT?
Let's do it, man. Let's talk. Surely that's better, right?
Hang on. Can we change the screen?
We have. Because we can do that now.
Nice. Yeah. Anyway, as far as the card goes, Carl, we saw... Wow, my typing's been horrendous on these notes. Apologies, guys. We saw Shotzi Blackheart go up against Candice LeRae, with Candice LeRae taking the win. We saw the Grizzled Young Veterans go up against Ever-Rise, with the Grizzled Young Veterans taking the win. And I will stress this was the first match of round 1 of the Dusty Classic.
Mm-hmm.
We saw Johnny Gargano going up against Dexter Lumis. Okay, with Johnny Gargano taking the win. We saw Jake Atlas and Isaiah Scott going up against the debuting MSK, with MSK taking the win. Again, another first round match of the Dusty Classic. We saw Xia Li going up against, honestly, someone whose name I'm pretty sure they never gave us, because I don't know what it was and I can't find it. Some random jobber. And Xia Li took the win, surprisingly.
I think that was a name on
it. Her name couldn't have been jobber, surely. Anyway, we end with the Undisputed Era going up against Breezango. Again, another first round match of the Dusty Classic, with the Undisputed Era taking the win. I'll clarify, the Undisputed Era consisted of Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. Now, as far as the highlights go, Carl. First one, nice blanket statement. I love a good tournament.
I do too. I miss the King of the Ring. I say that often.
Yeah. We don't get the King of the Ring. And you know what? If I've got to live through the Dusty Classic on NXT, I fucking will. It's decent. And you know what? It's funny when you see them trying to put together tag teams because they haven't got any. That kind of amuses me too. But all in all, I like this tournament, and I will be fully engaged with this tournament right the way through. I do have a couple of gripes, but we'll talk about that. The next highlight, Carl, and the only other highlight I have, is the fact that, I dare say, as much as I've been a bit confused, underwhelmed, and disinterested with Xia Li's storyline, I don't give a fuck who the woman in the chair is or what Boa's got to do with it. Xia Li is actually being booked more badass now, and I kind of like the whole character gimmick, the character work. I don't think she can keep going against jobbers long term. I think she needs to actually get into a decent feud. But if this is what it took to get a decent character for her, then I'm all for it, because I was actually quite engaged with who her character was as a person. Like, it was kind of, I dare say, Carl, almost Mortal Kombat-esque. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That big sweeping entrance, you know, kind of looked badass.
Freezing people, you know, stuff like that.
Fatalities. Yeah. It was all there. And all right, Boa looked like something out of the Matrix. That's fine.
I'm gonna shock you here. You know, I've got a highlight.
Oh, okay.
MSK.
This is unusual. Really?
So, I believe MSK. They are what the I think we mentioned them on the news a few weeks ago. They're the former Impact guys, right? Or they're called the Radicals or something.
They are, but weirdly, only 2 of the former Impact guys, though.
But you know what?
Not all.
I was digging it, man. I like the way, I don't know, like you mentioned. Yeah, it's ironic that they're doing a Dusty Tag Team Classic and they haven't got any fucking tag teams, but they look well put. They look well put together. I like the look. I like, you know, even the name. Yeah, like they impress me, to be fair.
It's actually quite surprising, because you'll note they got the win. So it's interesting that they're putting them in a strong position like that as well, straight out of the gate. This is debut, and they took the win, and they're going forward in the tournament. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I can see them kind of being champions in the future, to be fair.
It'd be a good way. You know what? Fuck it. Put it. Yeah, they've well established in TNA anyway. Yeah, fucking do it. Push them to the moon. But the only shite I've got on the list, Carl, because all in all, it was an okay week for NXT. You know, not massively exciting in general, but an okay week. Was the main event. I've got 2 shites. Sorry, I will discuss the other one in a sec. But the Undisputed Era going up against Breezango, I feel like this match was done too early. They are 2 quite well-established, prominent tag teams, or factions, if you look at Undisputed Era, in NXT, and you've made them go up against each other in the first round, so one of them has to go. That doesn't make sense to me. So now Breezango are out. It was Breezango, wasn't it? Breezango are out. And I just don't get it. I don't get why you would do that. So I just needed to moan about that slightly. It's not a big gripe. And obviously it involved a ton of shenanigans with Pat McAfee's group, whatever they're called, even though Pat McAfee isn't around. Yeah, so I don't know, a slight gripe in that sense, but to me it just didn't make sense. Like, have them up against different people and have them progress maybe further into the tournament, go up against each other. I'm not saying the end of the tournament, the last 2, but maybe later on. I don't get why you'd sort of use this match so quickly. It just, I don't know, feels a bit odd to me. Um,
I was gonna say, like, I'm all for like the shock factor, and obviously they needed like a main event, didn't they? But yeah, Breezango, I quite like them, to be fair, but they're still just jobbing, aren't they? Like, all the time, and I don't know.
yeah. Sadly, they work really well together. They've got a lot of chemistry together. They got a great sort of gimmick in a lot of senses that they don't take themselves too seriously. But like you say, when you look at it objectively, they just job out to everyone. No. It's a shame. It's a real shame. But that's what we got. The only other one I had, and I forgot to write it down, but I'll mention it now, was Gargano going up against Loomis. And I want to get your thoughts on this, Carl, because Gargano took the win. And I don't. For me, I find that people enjoyed this match. I've had a look on the internet. People actually enjoyed this match. And he can't win every match, I get that. But do you not think this was a bit odd to give Gargano the win over Loomis? Or even put them against each other at this point, because we're still building Loomis.
Yeah.
He's just finished chasing Grimes around or whatever. And then you put him up in a match where he takes the loss to Gargano. I don't know, it doesn't feel right to me. But I want to get your thoughts on it, because obviously he can't win every match, I get that. But
yeah, I feel like it's a bit stop and start, and I think that's the big issue with it, really, is, I don't know, he's got the potential to be something and do something big, but we're just not getting it. We're not seeing it. And I don't know, I think for him, he needs to build that momentum up and solidify himself as someone who can challenge for titles and be a bigger star. But yeah, like, every time you put him against someone, he just loses. It kind of takes away. He's a creepy guy, and he's got a creepy persona, so
I mean, he's great in the ring, and he's got great mic skills, so I just don't get it. Why isn't he like taking the win?
Strange.
Strange indeed. Anyway, as a rating, Carl, I'm actually going to give it a 2. I do enjoy a good tournament, but the stuff around the tournament was a bit daft or pointless, and the main event, I have my reservations with putting them up against each other now. So on that basis, I'm going to give it a 2, because it wasn't a bad week, but it doesn't merit much higher for me.
I hate to do it. I'm going to agree with you. It was fine for what it was.
I know you hate that.
I do hate that. No, it was fine for what it was. Obviously, the Dusty Classic, making its return. I think that kind of was the bulk of the show, really. But yeah, I think the matches themselves, even though it would have been good to see Breezango, get through and to later stages and stuff, like, the match quality was fine and it was good, and we may not have been happy with the outcomes, but I thought it was solid enough from NXT this week. So yeah. 2 seemed fair.
Are you going to do the clicky thing and change the screen?
You ready? Pow. Oh, I did it. It's so cool.
Nice.
I'm just gonna let's not beat around the bush here. I'm just gonna call it out, because I can see the mistake, and I can see the mistake on every slide, and our avid watchers and listeners are gonna see these mistakes. But we're trying something out for the first time, and I've stuck some graphics in that were backgrounds, and it says the A2theK Wrestling Experience, and that was a name that we toyed with once, but it's not a name that we kept.
So this week you're having an experience.
You're having the experience this week, because it's an experience for us trying out this new software where we update things on the fly. So that'll be rectified next week.
We put it on a show.
Yeah, and then we'll just change it up every week after that. So this is your experience. Next week's a show. The week after, we might call it the A2theK Wrestling 3-hour. No idea what to do with it.
Extravaganza.
Yeah.
And then we're just going to give up and just call it the A2theK thing.
Them A2theK guys. That's what it'll be. Just thought I'd face into it. I noticed it. It threw me off. I was a bit disappointed in myself, but it's fine. It's okay. It's just the logos. All our socials still say follow us at A2theK Wrestling, and that's what matters. And make sure you do that. But anyway, all that aside, we're going to move on to something which is pretty good, like it is every week, and that is Dynamite. Light it up.
Light it up.
So yeah, it's Wednesday. You know what that means, and they kept it in again, and I fucking love it.
Nice. I do sincerely hope.
Yeah, same. But no, it was night 2 of New Year's Smash, and the card was pretty sick, to be fair. So we had Eddie Kingston taking on Pac in the opener, with Pac picking up the win. We had Miro taking on Chuck Taylor in a match which was originally, he was going to be his something boy or something, and they basically
Oh yeah,
They
we discussed
realised
that.
that
Yeah.
no one has a fucking clue what they're on about because we're not all, New Japan marks. So they changed it to be Miro against Chuck Taylor in if Taylor loses, he'll be his butler. So at least that makes a bit more sense.
Because we've all heard of a fucking
Well,
butler.
exactly. And Miro did win. So Chucky T is going to be Miro's new butler. So look forward to seeing how that pans out.
See, I just say at this point, I love AEW, and I'm not knocking them when I say this, but this is what gives people credence to go, oh yeah, see that real sports feel. Like, don't pretend you're gonna have real sports feel when we're doing stuff like this. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yep.
Like, I really enjoy the show. I don't give a fuck what you put on in terms of real sports feel, but don't make that statement because it's clearly not.
True cheese.
Let's carry on.
We had the Inner Circle giving us an update, revealing what their New Year's resolutions are, which was pretty funny, to be fair. But keen to get your thoughts on that. We had Kenny Omega teaming with the Good Brothers, not the Young Bucks, to take on Varsity Blondes and Danny Limelight, with the Elite picking up the win. We had the Waiting Room. So Britt Baker's talk show has moved up from Dark, graduated onto the main stage with special guest Cody Rhodes.
I just wonder if there's going to be any other competing talk shows this week.
I mean, yeah. Like, who knows? Everyone will have a talk show eventually because that's the cool thing to do, right?
That's the cool thing to do.
We had the Jurassic Express consisting of Marco Stunt as opposed to Luchasaurus, team with Jungle Boy, taking on FTR, with FTR picking up the win. We had the NWA Women's title on the line as Serena Deeb took on Tay Conti, with Deeb retaining. And the main event of the evening...
Now,
go on.
I mean, no offense to Serena Deeb. She's trained a lot of people. She's worked as a coach. She's done a lot of stuff. I really want to take Conti's take.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. She'll get there.
Just saying.
But the main event was the TNT title on the line. Darby Allin defending against Brian Cage, with Allin retaining. So, the highlights, Anthony. The usual strong start this week. So, not as kind of high intensity, high impact, but still quite, a decent amount of intensity, but a little bit more physicality, a bit more brawling kind of thing throughout, with maybe a few sprinkles of high-flying intensity from Pac, obviously,
and
Kingston.
Just a dash of aggression.
Just a dash of fucking schizo from Eddie Kingston. But yeah, I say it every time I see him, it's good to have Pac back. Pac is back. It's just so good, man. I've definitely missed him while he's been away. Obviously, Kingston.
You forget, I think, until you start seeing him again, you're like,
God, he is good.
To be fair,
But yeah, Kingston's no slouch either in the ring. Obviously, on the mic, he's something else. But his in-ring psychology is really good as well. So it made for an all-round decent match. I wasn't sure whether this was legit, whether it had been worked or not. But it looked like Kingston might have actually injured himself at one point in this. He was holding his tailbone or his lower back, and the match kind of took a bit of a it slowed down significantly and kind of came to a pretty quick halt after that. So hopefully he's not injured, and it was just that
hopefully not, yeah.
Yeah, it seemed at the time like it might have been. So yeah, we had so I'm going to be clear. I wasn't a fan of the whole stipulation of this whole Miro and Chucky T thing and all that kind of stuff. The match itself, though, I thought was good. It was what it needed to be. It wouldn't have made sense to have Miro on a clinic for ages with Chucky T. Miro beat him up, and it was as we all expected. Chucky is now going to be, his butler. So, look, it's cheesy. It's not, typical AEW type of thing, and I completely get that. But obviously, we know Trent is out injured, and to save Chuck just being on the side, because that's what tends to happen with tag teams. If one of them goes out, then both tag team guys are fucked for months until they recover. So at least in this, they're saying, well, okay, Trent's going to be out for several months. What can we do with Chuck? And so they've gone, well, okay, let's make him a butler and at least keep him on TV and keep paying him and stuff. So, I'm interested to see where they go and what they do with it. But yeah, meanwhile, though, one negative I will say is Orange Cassidy is just not doing anything. And for someone who, was fighting for the TNT title and having feuds with Jericho, he's just
Just having some time off now, isn't he?
Yeah, just doing nothing at the minute. So, yeah, I don't want to be like, oh, this was amazing or anything like that. But it was a squash. It needed to be a squash, and they didn't make us sit through too much of it. And at least we're going to see something interesting in terms of what Chuck kind of does now going forward as Miro's butler. So, in a circle, Anthony, you didn't seem to react quite well to this. So, look, I still love these guys. They're not as good as they were when they first formed. Let's be honest. When they first formed, they were doing some amazing stuff, and they were bouncing off the live crowd. Even early in like the lockdown stuff, they had the flim flam and all that kind of stuff, and it was really good and it was funny, right? And they're not at that level anymore, so there's no denying that. But they're still good, and I thought this segment was still really funny. So, we had Sammy Guevara calling Chris a little tag team slut. Was hilarious because he has teamed with every fucker under the sun, hasn't he? Let's be honest. So it's good that.
Look, I'm willing to admit the Sammy Guevara thing was funny because he called him a tag team slut, and he's like, "Oh, what's next? Are you going to team with?" I can't even remember who he listed, and he was like, "Maybe." And it's like, it's almost an
admission
that he's a tag
Snoop
team
Dogg.
slut. But yeah, I think it was. Anyway, I think the coronavirus or the pandemic and the isolation is slowly damaging Jericho mentally because I think the whole segment was weak. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't a fan. That one bit was funny, but the whole segment didn't need to happen. It felt kind of like they didn't really have a plan. It's like we'll go out there in the ring and we'll riff. And I don't know, didn't gel for me. I'll be honest.
I do disagree. I don't think it was great by any stretch, especially not for them. It was one of their weaker things, but at the same time, you had Sammy calling him a tag team slut. Hager was fucking hilarious, just going championships, yeah, just like he's funny, man. Like he is funny, and
he's
just doing stuff like that. I don't know. I thought that was funny, so that made me laugh. MJF being a big, massive suck up is good for his character. And even the way they called him out at the end, it was like, "Hey, why is your hand darker than your face?" because of his fake tan. Like I don't know. I thought there was good little insults and stuff in there, but I think in terms of them having a point, obviously it was to set up what I think is going to be an interesting match because they've done a 3-way for the upcoming show where Jericho will team with MJF. You will have Santana and Ortiz, and you will have Guevara and Hager teaming up. And basically, whoever wins that will be the only tag team in the Inner Circle. So I thought it was good that Ortiz and Santana stood up for themselves.
Look, I'm all for a 3-way, right? But
you just wanted to get that joke in.
I know, sorry. But honestly, why do they keep trying to add dissension in the ranks? Are they going to split them up or not?
Well, I mean, they can't keep doing it forever,
can they? The whole question with MJF, now we've got Santana and Ortiz going, we're here to be the tag team. No one else is allowed to tag team. But they never had a problem with the Sex Gods, but whatever. I don't know. I don't
know. I think you're being harsh. I think I don't think it's about them being the only tag team. I think
I think you're being lenient.
It's about the championships. So I think when, I think they've got a right to be like, well, we should be the only team going for the tag titles. That's what we're about. Like, you guys can be a tag team if you want, but the tag titles should be ours. So yeah, I don't know. I think you're right to kind of criticize and say it's not their best work, and I will agree with that. But I still thought it was light, it was entertaining, and while it might not be kind of amazing, like fall off your seat or like riff about it too much, I thought it was decent enough for what it was. I would give it a B minus, whereas I would normally give this stuff a B plus to an A.
Okay.
It's my personal. So yeah. What else do we have? So we had so the waiting room with Britt Baker. I think I've got to be 60-40 in terms of good and bad on this because I did think there was elements of it that was really good, and I feel like they outweighed it. It was good enough to be a highlight in that sense. So there's a reason we gave Britt Baker the breakout performer in the A2theK Knees, and she was great again here. Like the work she did, Cody, you just need to make a decision. You need to start flip flopping, make a good decision for once, and that one on your neck, stuff like that. Little jabs at Cody was all good, and I liked the way it kind of ended up leading towards the announcement of Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker at Beach Bash. But the bit where it fell down for me was the whole Jade Cargill stuff, and I get it. She's quite the coup for AEW in a sense because I'm sure WWE wanted her and all that good stuff, but at the same time, she was brought in to probably work a program with Brandy and to have Cody and Shaq and have something going on there. Brandy's obviously off pregnant. Cody just seems to be floating around, and Jade Cargill's just got nothing, no direction. So
yeah, they've had absolutely no backup plan at all.
And even like they've now gone all okay. Red Velvet's going to be, but there was just no reason to even bring her on the show because she was getting in Cody's face. Why? That didn't make any sense anymore. And then they brought Red Velvet out, okay, but then it was still to push Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. So yeah, I don't know. I thought it was entertaining, but not amazing. There's my thoughts on it. Deeb Conti was a fucking great match. It was one of the better matches AEW have put on in a while. I agree with you. I'd love Ty Conti to pick up the win and be the champ, but
and I don't like to do the whole comparison to AEW and WWE, but that was a definite mistake on WWE's part, letting Ty Conti go.
100%, yeah. I think she's still got some work to do on her promos and stuff. She doesn't have to.
Do you know what? I feel like I'm doing a disservice there. It was a fucking mistake on WWE's part to let Serena Deeb go.
True. Yeah, 100%. It's mad to think that she's had such a hell of an interesting story, Serena, because they let her go originally. Obviously, the only reason they wanted her was like, we're going to keep her was because she was like, I'll shave my head, I'll join the straight edge society, all that good stuff. She got a bonus for that, blah blah blah. They let her go eventually, and then she didn't know what to do with herself. They brought her back for the Mae Young Classic, I think it was, and then they brought her on as a trainer, and it was only when they went through the round of like she was with them really recently. Do you know what I mean? She's only been outside WWE.
No, that's the thing. Like, it's interesting because she spoke about it recently, saying that the Mae Young Classic was essentially her tryout for being a trainer to see how she worked with the PC talent and so on and so on. And she mentioned that quite recently that like that was her getting the gig in the coaching side of things, and that she really enjoyed the coaching side of things. I think she's gonna feel quite fulfilled in AEW because she's getting to work with the newer talent and help them progress. But how much of a massive loss are both of these people for WWE? They are baffling with some of the cuts they make. It really are.
100%. But yeah, I thought the match itself was fantastic. I thought Ty Conti was, she can be a future star definitely, and I think she showed that. She's definitely got the chops. So yeah, it's a shame she didn't end up getting the win. I didn't expect her to, but yeah, it was a great match nonetheless.
No, I joke. I'm a big fan of Ty Conti, but I suppose Deeb has to keep the title a bit longer. Coming off the run that Thunder had with it, it'd be difficult not to retain it for a while. To be fair,
definitely. And I think she's beat Thunder twice, like pretty much clean. You know what I mean? So, So yeah, and then the final highlight is the main event. I thought it was brilliant. Darby Allin is really, really good, man. They've built him up as a character so well. Like, I know he's just sat there like the little emo kid some weeks and stuff, and we joke and all that, but the stuff we've seen him do to his body and the punishment he can take and stuff, it was absolutely believable that someone like Cage could come in, beat the shit out of him for like a solid 25 minutes, burn himself out, and Darby can still just, tuck it all and come back and manage to pick up the win. Like, it was believable. Do you know what I mean? And that's how they played it, and that's how it should have been. Cage battered him, did loads of shit to Darby. He was busted open or everything, and then ultimately Darby ended up pick up the win. I know Sting did get involved, kind of, but he didn't get involved in the main match. He only kind of was there to be the equalizer almost for. But I think he took out Ricky Starks, didn't he? So yeah, I thought it was a solid main event. To be fair, I thought that played off each other quite well.
And I'll be honest, and I've not vocalised it too much, but I'm not sure I'm a big fan of Darby. Like, I've not specifically said that. I don't think I've ever really expressed a lot of love for him, but I wasn't overly big on him winning the title, especially the way Cody did it. And I don't know, I'm not a big fan of Darby, but both of them put on a really good match together. I can't deny that.
Interesting. Keen to see whether your opinions change in the coming weeks and months. But moving on to the O'Shites, so Hardy Party, just not a fan of it. Matt had many episodes in his time, a lot of them really good. This isn't one of them. He's a weird agent guy, doesn't make sense, it feels forced, not a fan of it whatsoever.
If you ask me, Matt's had a scare, he's expecting another kid, and he's avoiding the ring, so he's doing some sort of agent valet kind of stuff. And like you say, character-wise, it's not working, and I don't think we're going to see him in the ring anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's meant to be in the ring this week, but how active he actually gets in the. I think it's him and and Private Party are teaming up or something, but
We'll see.
we will see. But yeah,
will he be in the ring or stood on the edge of it?
Find out this week on Dynamite. Yeah, so not a fan of that at all. For me, I've been very, very supportive of Moxley lately, thinking that he's fantastic.
You have?
The whole stuff with him and Omega didn't work for me this week. Like when Mox was coming down, when it was Omega and the Good Brothers in the ring, he was like looking at the camera going, "Yeah, 3, that's no problem," and it was just like, you wouldn't do that. Like, that's like WWE shit. That was more Ambrose, you know what I mean? Like, you don't need to convey to the camera, "Oh, there's 3 guys in there, that's no problem for me." It's like, what? That's so out of character for him, that. He should have just got in there. We can see there's 3 guys. Just go in there and fucking...
Like, it's that... The Mox we kind of have and know, he'd care less about the cameras.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's how they'd book it. Whereas him being so aware that there's an audience feels massively out of character.
So, I don't know, that felt off. And then he gets in, he obviously gets beat down because it's a 3-on-1. And who comes out for the save but Rey Fenix and Penta? Which I didn't really get, to be fair. Like, I know Omega had a match with Phoenix last week, but why are they coming down to make the save? That didn't make any sense. And then the Young Bucks come down, but then the Lucha Bros turn and get them. And I don't know, it's just a big melee again, all the teams and stuff, and then Omega just gets out of there, so... strange.
Yeah. It was a bit of an odd booking this week, I'll be honest, yeah.
And then, I think the last one, or is that it, actually? No, that's it.
Well, sort of the last one, I'll mention it because it's part of your last show, but I don't think we covered it fully, is the fact that the Young Bucks actually joined them. Given what happened, was it last week?
So it was this week. So basically, it was meant to be Omega teaming up with the Bucks, and Don Callis basically pulled a swerve on them and said that, he is teaming with his best friends, but it's going to be the Good Brothers, and then so the Young Bucks are just like, oh. But the previous week they'd like joined up and all been doing the 2 Sweet Simp stuff. So yeah, no idea what's going on with it, but.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it was probably just a quick excuse to account for Matt Jackson's knee that's hanging on by a thread.
True. But yeah, all in all, Anthony, I might end up doing that thing that you've done once or twice on this show. I originally had it down as a 3.5. I changed it to a 3, and then I'm looking at it now thinking, is it actually more like a 2.5? And maybe it is. So I'm just going to be bold. I'm just going to say it's 2.5. I still think it was better than NXT this week, but not by much.
I'm surprised, because I didn't think we'd meet on this. I was going to give it a 2.5 rather than a 3, because I wasn't that enamoured with the Inner Circle. So it surprised me that you've landed the same place. I thought you'd be a 3 and I'd be a 2.5. But I'm not going to give it a 2. It was definitely better than NXT this week. But yeah, I'm surprised we're both in the same place. So 2.5.
It's definitely a weaker Dynamite, I think.
I'd agree.
And so,
speaking of weak,
kapow! It's gone blue for SmackDown.
Nice. Right, so SmackDown, Carl. So as far as the card goes, and that's how I like to start these things by saying, as far as the card goes, we had like a bit of, I don't know if you want to call it a promo or whichever. We had a bit of a segment involving Roman Reigns, J Uso, and Paul Heyman. We had Nakamura coming out and basically landing a kick on the side of J Uso's head, which was good fun. And that led straight into our first match of the night, which is Shinsuke Nakamura versus J Uso. Shinsuke Nakamura took the win. We saw, following that, Liv Morgan going up against Natalya, with Natalya taking the win. We then had Mysterio versus Corbin, with Corbin taking the win. We then had, would you believe it, a brand new talk show debut, and Carl, from the role model herself, Bayley, called Ding Dong Hello, which is as stupid as it sounds. And then we had Daniel Bryan going up against Cesaro, with Cesaro taking the win. We then had Apollo going up against Sami Zayn, with Apollo taking the win. And we closed the night with a nice little contract signing, because, fuck it, why not end on a, whimper?
Yeah.
Anyway, as far as highlights go, Carl, I want to start right now by saying Daniel Bryan and Cesaro was a banger of a match. Probably going to go underappreciated because people don't really think too much of Cesaro for some reason. He's not a main event guy. Daniel Bryan has been and is more of a let's get people over guy. But this was a really good match. I can totally understand why Cesaro took the win, because this is what Daniel Bryan, his whole ethos is about at the moment. But a really enjoyable match between the two of them, and it's a shame it never got more prominence on the card, in all fairness.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Damn right. So I don't know how you feel about this. I'm curious how you feel about this. So my next one is actually the Apollo Crews, Sami Zayn, Big E stuff. I think it's nice seeing, and assuming they're going to stick with it, because this will be the kicker if they don't stick with it. The Apollo Crews, this could be a good push for him. This could be a good feud for Big E if they do it right. But they need him to carry on going full heel. They started out with him getting advice from Roman Reigns, and he's decided to be more of a cunt, basically. It vindicates Sammy's position, because once again he lost, but he actually got screwed over because there was pulling of the tights and so on. So Sammy can carry on being the Weasley heel that he is. But I actually thought this was some good booking, because Apollo was a straightforward heel. No fucking around with it. No Weasley friendly, not friendly, none of that bollocks. It was just straightforward. I'm a bad guy now, and it's leading to, I think, a good place.
So I agree, but the thing I didn't like was, I don't get why Roman Reigns would give him advice. Why would the tribal chief, in his character work, sit down and spend 5 minutes with the fucking Apollo Crews?
Well, I'll be honest, that is the bit that's a bit daft.
He's just there, and he's like, oh, okay, and then that's it. And it's like, what? There clearly must be something in it for Roman Reigns, right? No. It just felt out of character for him, and it just didn't need to happen. I don't think you can have Apollo be, just be a dick, or just, take umbrage to the fact that being a nice guy hasn't worked.
If they'd have totally cut that brief segment with him and Roman, it wouldn't have made a blind bit of difference. So you're quite right.
It anyway. It was like, was that Apollo Crews there with Roman Reigns? What? And then nothing. Great.
Yeah, it's a bit odd. But that being said, Carl, and again another potentially disagreeable point, the whole Roman Reigns thing I actually quite enjoyed. So for those who are purely relying on us for the information from this show, he spent the night trying to sort of alter his contract or get the best contract for himself to take on Adam Pearce. And Heyman was very much, I'll sort this, we'll make this what we want it to be. And he was trying to get it to a point where he could essentially just browbeat and punish Adam Pearce. So they eventually got to a point where Adam Pearce agreed to a contract in which Roman would face him in a last man standing match, which is exactly what Roman wanted. He wanted to be beating the shit out of Pearce for as long as he wanted, essentially. So Roman quite happily signs this contract, getting what he wanted, and then Adam feigns a fake limp of some sort and a knee injury, and says the match is subject to change, and out walks Kevin Owens. And this is where this might be disagreeable, because have we seen too much of KO versus Roman? Possibly. But do we need this more than we needed Adam Pearce versus Roman? Yes, we fucking did. So I don't know how you feel about it, Carl, but I thought it was quite good the way Adam played him his own game, and he wasn't the bitch that they sort of portray him as this authority figure with no authority. I quite like the fact that he got one up on him, and I quite like the fact that we're not going to get that match at Rumble.
Oh yeah, God, I did not want to see that at all. I think whenever Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns do face off, it's always a pretty decent one. There's a nice little stipulation on it, but yeah, part of me liked it. Okay, Roman was too cocky, and Pearce screwed him over, but I don't know. It was just why did we need all that? Like, what's going to be the payoff now?
I mean, we didn't. It was just an elaborate way to book the same match again, sadly, and that's the reality of it. Is like, we need to be done after this. After this match, Kevin Owens needs to stop feuding with him. That's the bottom line of it. Like, they've had their matches. That's it. We need to move on. But I'm all for this last man standing match. It's going to be an absolute brutal match, and I can't argue that. It is going to be enjoyable. But seriously, if we go to Mania with these two as well, I'm going to be so pissed off.
Yeah, it's a shame really, because I really like Kevin Owens, but it does feel like it's just been a bit done to death now, hasn't it? Already, we've seen it a good few times.
I think
now.
The sad fact is as well, like, do you feel like Kevin's going to win at all? Like, it'd be very unrealistic to have him win at the current run Roman's having. Be very unrealistic to have him win. So we're kind of going into it knowing what the result's going to be as well.
He's got more chance than Adam Pearce, of course, but yeah, I still don't think he's got much of a chance.
Of course. But yeah, so I don't know. There is that slight predictable element to it. However, my last highlight, Carl, is I don't know if you noticed it. I had to read about it, if I'm honest with you. I mean, you could tell there was something different, but I had to read about what was going on. I thought they were just trying something. But Fox have allowed the use or given or whatever the 8K cameras that are used for I believe the NFL to WWE. So you'll notice the entrances this week were a lot more spectacular. I don't know, like a lot more detailed, a lot more. They were sort of filmed slightly differently as well.
But all the entrances, that's what they were.
Yes, they were.
They were really weird.
And that was using these fan-dangled 8K cameras. And do you know what? I like it.
It was definitely different. It made them.
There's one thing.
Sorry, I was going to say it made them feel like bigger stars, almost, especially Roman Reigns. But the part that threw me off a bit was the fact that it would also blur the background to the extent of like.
That's the bit that really made it weird. Like to the point, Jay, you really notice it with Roman because Jay Uso and Paul Heyman were behind him, and you could see because of the way the camera was that they were kind of blurred, but you could still see them. But the focus was very much Roman, and it was so weird the way it does it. But that was kind of. I think you'll get used to it, but it was kind of weird at first.
Yeah, definitely.
But there's one thing that I think it's only fair that I commend WWE for. And that is their willingness to utilize and try technology. Like whether or not you like the Thunderdome, they tried something. Do you know what I mean? And it's like this now. They're willing to embrace technology, and I think this is one thing that'll work. And I think they're on Fox for a while now, and hopefully we carry on seeing these Foxy cameras.
Foxy cameras. Yeah.
So, should we move on to the O'Shea's?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So, the Nakamura match. Surprisingly disappointed in this. And I don't want to be unfair, but it's going to sound unfair. This further solidifies to me that maybe J Uso isn't a main event star. I know they're trying to he's main event Jay and all that kind of bollocks. And Roman pushed him into that position, and he had some really good matches with Roman. But, Nakamura's like a really well-established wrestler, and the chemistry just wasn't here for me in this match. And I'm not saying it's totally not Nakamura's fault. Chemistry goes both ways, but this makes me wonder whether Jay is destined to just fall back into the whole tag team fold eventually, because this wasn't a good match. That's, in all fairness.
I think
it was nice to see the potential of Nakamura becoming a face again. He came out to his old theme. He's made a bigger deal of, but the match itself was a bit weak.
I think all them bits were good. I love his old theme. Jay is not a main event star, and I'm sorry to say that. He isn't, and he's never going to be. He will definitely be back as a tag team once Jimmy is back, basically. He's done really well, with what he's had and what he's been given and the stuff with Roman, but he's definitely not at that level, unfortunately. But something else which I thought was a bit weird in this match was like the Cesaro on commentary, like him and Shinsuke, weird tension, almost.
Kind of suggesting that there might be some sort of dissension there, and I get it because, in some senses, it kind of makes a bit of sense, doesn't it? Because, just because one guy's turned face doesn't mean they're both good guys all of a sudden. So it kind of makes a bit of sense that he might not be on board with it. But is that going to be a feud we're all after, Cesaro versus Shinsuke? Yeah. I mean, don't be wrong, they can definitely put on a good match together, but do we want it? Do we want it? So, my next one, Carl, and I don't want to be too unfair on this. Let's be honest, Natalia's been in the business for a long time. Yeah. She's a well-established women's wrestler. She's done a lot for women's wrestling, and I mean no disrespect to her at all. However, the way WWE have booked it in the last fucking decade has been to lose and to have stupid gimmicks. That's pretty much what they've done. So I think the fact that she had a match with Liv Morgan and the fact that she took the win, admittedly through shenanigans, but she took the win, is kind of damaging to any momentum you're trying to give to the Riot Squad. So it has to be an O-shite for me. I get it because it was due to the comedic antics of Billie Kay, who is killing it, by the way. I think her character work is fucking brilliant. And I just really tickled me that she wanted to be sort of punk rock with them guys this week. And it was obviously down to her distraction that the match was lost. But I don't know, it's still a loss to Natalya, and that shouldn't be a bad thing. But because of the way they've booked Natalya over the last, again, decade, it is a bad thing. When you're losing to Natalya, you're like proper jobbing out at this point.
Yeah.
Because she's the one. And it's not disrespect to her, it's just she's the one putting people over. That's what she's been doing for a long time now.
Yeah. No, you're right. I think I agree. Billy is absolutely killing it. She's proper funny. But like the way that, like, the weird distraction just didn't make any sense. Like, what was she doing? She was in the ring spinning around and stuff, and you know what I mean. Like, I don't know. And
even that, it wasn't like a, because we've seen her in previous weeks be really loud outside the ring that it caused a distraction. Why did they have to do the in the ring shenanigans? That didn't actually make any sense.
Exactly. I didn't really get it, but I don't know. I feel really bad for Liv, and you know, I don't want to disrespect Ruby either, but I just think that Liv could have been something. They could have elevated her quite a bit, but then they just put her back in the Riot Squad, and it just feels a bit like, you know what I mean, like meh. No.
It was a mistake splitting them up in the first place, and it is a real shame because they split them up with a clear intention of giving Liv that push and that solo run, and then they were like, "Nah, I'm good." It's a real shame. But again, the momentum that they're trying to build for the Riot Squad, which would be a good idea given that we do have women's tag teams, it seems to be a bit negated as well here. So my other Oshai, Carl, and I don't want to talk on this too much, was Bayley's whole thing.
Ding dong.
Ding dong hello. It's been a shit catchphrase since day fucking one, right? It's cringy as fuck. And now we're trying to make a talk show. In a show, in a promotion, WWE, we've criticised most weeks, Carl, for just having way too many talk shows. Having the likes of Miz TV, the Dirt Sheet, the Moments of Bliss, MVP Lounge, etc., etc., etc. And now we're gonna have this fucking ding dong hello game show looking fucking thing with like Bianca Belair. She is, I don't know, is she feuding with her? I don't even know anymore. And it's like, I get it. Bayley's actually like, she is doing a better job than I probably thought she would do as a heel. I still don't think. I still think her being a face is a better thing for her. I don't think she's as good a heel as she is a face, but she's doing a better job than I'd probably give her credit for initially. I think she's starting to feel comfortable in that role, let's say. Because if you recall, when she first became a heel with Sasha, she was like still kind of a bit too friendly with it all, and you're like, stop smiling, you're a bad guy. But even so, this whole segment, I wasn't on board with. I'm like, don't. Just don't.
I am just so sick of talk shows now. Like, come up with something else. There's got to be a way to have a non-wrestling segment that isn't a fucking talk show. Like, I get it way back when there was Piper's Pit and it was something sound. You know, you've had like the highlight reel and stuff. Okay, cool. But my God, there's never been this many. And
you know what? WWE this week on one show have done our two biggest pet peeves: talk shows and fucking contract signings.
Yeah. And
like you say, think of something else.
Funny,
man.
Which on Raw you'd be like, well, it's Raw, it's 3 hours. No, they didn't even do that shit on Raw. Raw, they just fucking rebooked the same matches or variations of the same matches 3 times. It's just SmackDown.
Just rang the bell again.
Whereas it's SmackDown, the 2 hour show that they're still using filler segments. It's insane.
Yeah.
Mad.
It is, really is. And I don't think this really did anything for Bianca Belair, in all honesty.
And like, even her shtick is getting a bit tired now. The ES, fucking whatever the fuck it is, EST.
I know. I think didn't Bayley try and refer to her as a how did she put it? Like, basically guest.
Oh God.
GUS'd. I know.
Bad.
And also, like, just complete absence of the tag scene this week.
Complete absence of load of stuff this week.
Yeah, kind of weird. And I do need to mention, as an shite as well, the Mysterios, the pair of them. For starters, they're apparently just jobbers now. And secondly, I thought Dominic wanted to be a wrestler.
Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you?
You know how you start doing that?
You can't ring me.
He's almost as part-time as his fucking dad.
It's bad.
Isn't he young and new to this?
It is bad.
Shouldn't he be having regular matches? Totally weird.
Yeah.
And then apparently Elliot and Murphy just fucking ran off. Like, and I'm kind of glad it's not a thing anymore. But I just like let's just not even talk about it. Apparently.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my last O'Shea call. I'm done moaning now. And for me, I'm gonna give it. It was better than Raw. It's worse than NXT. Toying between a 1.5 and a 1. I think I'm gonna go with a 1.
Fucking hell, mate! Across the board, have we disagreed with everything all episode?
I think we just totally agree with each other all the time.
1 from me as well. Yeah, it just wasn't really good at all this week. Kind of across the board. All shows like Dynamite was a bit of like a big low for Dynamite. You know, NXT wasn't awful to be fair, but it was just very bland, which is kind of every week really. Raw was awful, and SmackDown really wasn't much better. So, not the best week, unfortunately. Unfortunately for us, who have to sit through and watch it.
But you know what's coming?
Coming? I know what's coming.
Rumble. And I still maintain it. We've never had a bad Rumble.
I'm looking forward to it. I hope, and we're probably not even going to get it, but I still hope there's going to be a few surprises. I know it's a lockdown Rumble, it's a COVID Rumble, but I'd love to see.
They're gonna do everything they can to surprise us.
I hope so.
They know it's a Rumble.
I hope so. I think
even if it's Triple H coming out.
I mean, even if they're going to use the fact that, I mean, actually we're alluding to the fact that there's not going to be any fans. I don't know. Like, are they going to allow people to be there? It's going to be a massive shame if there's no audience there. And the Thunderdome doesn't.
Apparently, there's a heavy suggestion that there's not going to be an audience, which is a sad thing. But if they have to hedge the bets and have no audience for the Rumble for the sake of maybe having an audience for Mania, I can live with that.
Yeah.
Like you say, it wouldn't be the same, but I can live with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope it is, you know, still a really, really good Rumble, because we live for the Rumble. We love the Rumble.
We love the Rumble.
So, yeah.
So that was this week in wrestling?
It was.
It's done. It's dusted.
Dusted.
So we hope you've enjoyed this week. We hope you've enjoyed our fantastic interview with the one and only Liverpool's own Lizzie Evo.
Mm-hmm.
We hope you've enjoyed listening to our good selves ramble about the news and ramble about wrestling this week. And if you want to follow us on social media, you want to find out where to find us on the likes of your various podcast mediums, various internet mediums, then all you need to do now, thanks to the stellar work from Carl, is search A2theK Wrestling.
That's it.
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, I believe Snapchat now maybe. You can find us on most any social medias, Twitter.
We've got a Tumblr, Anthony, which I thought was like apparently. You know, merchandise. Like we've got a Tumblr with our faces on it, but no, it's a social platform. I don't know if we post on it, but we've got one.
Speaking of merchandise, though, we have merchandise. You can buy the Whiskey and Wrestling T-shirt. You can buy Carl's A2theK.
I'm not going to like auction
new
this
Wrestling
one
Show
off
T-shirt.
or anything.
Yeah, that it'd be signed by Carl. It'd be full of his blood and sweat. You can also buy the new Water and Wrestling T-shirt, thanks to our new teetotaler over here, Carl.
You can also buy this autographed bottle of Voss. Battle of Voss.
And remember, guys, Voss is boss. But lastly, you can find us on YouTube. Again, A2theK Wrestling Show. You can find us anywhere you find your podcasts. Being obviously our host, our wonderful host is Anchor, but you can find us on any podcast platform. Find us on Apple, Google, Spotify, Breaker, wherever. All the other ones
places
that I can't remember right now. Tune in. That's
Well,
the other one.
Now I can do that. I can do that. They're up here. They're up here now.
They're up there.
They're up there. And don't look.
Right there. Well, I'm pointing at
look,
Carl. But if you look above
don't
Carl...
look over there, because we made a mistake and it says the wrong name. But
that was a mistake.
We're up there.
But look directly past Carl, over there.
You can follow us. That's stupid. I can use this one. You can follow us there too. On these things. Yeah.
See? It's all
We're
right.
good. We got this YouTube thing down, right? I think I just broke my wrist.
Indeed. So, until next week, guys.
Until next week.
Stay safe.
Take it easy.